Hello, everybody out in Facebook land. Here we are, back live here at MacArthur Airport, Islip Airport. Tonight's show, we're going to be talking about bully breeds. Bully breeds. We're going to try to sift through the controversy of bully breeds. And we're going to talk about it. As always, we got our little friend Squirt over here. Where is he?
He's down
He's
here.
over there sleeping. He's had a long day at doggy daycare. But an interesting fact about Squirt, he's 6 months old.
6 months.
You've had him for 6 weeks. And we're going to do our little demonstration if we can get him to wake up during our break. It's just little, not big things. But the point is to highlight how we could take a rescue dog and shape his behavior easily, simply. Danielle's been doing a great job with it. It doesn't require a lot of work. It requires just consistency. It's very consistent little things. So we're going to show you, and we're going to follow Squirt. He's cool. I want to get him into show business. I think he's a cool little dog. He's just he wasn't a stray, was he? What was it?
His mom was a stray.
His mom was a stray. You know, typical rescue.
60 seconds, guys. 60 seconds.
Typical rescue background, and we're going to show you. And then next week's show, we're going to talk about the bully breeds today, because I've been involved in, we see these horrific animal attacks. They're real. They're not people's imagination. They happen. So we're going to try to sift through that. We got a bunch of statistics. It's not going to be a debate, but a conversation. And we'll see what happens. But stay tuned on Facebook, because during the breaks we do our little demonstrations. Let's see.
Money. 10. 5, 4, 3.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Dish on Dogs. I'm your host, Mike Gould. We're Monday night, 8 o'clock live from the beautiful downtown, Bohemia, MacArthur Airport. Joining me today, Islip. I think it's Bohemia, actually. It's a town of Islip in the city of Bohemia. All right off the bat. We're 10 seconds into it. We're arguing. We're already debating. Of course, Ashley is here, Ashley Pizzo. Of course, Danielle and John is videoing Facebook Live. If you guys get with Facebook Live, because we're going to have some very interesting demos on our it's a 7-minute break at the second half or something, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're going to show a little dog. I'm going to introduce him in a minute. First, I always have to remind everybody who we are and what we do. So Hounds Town, USA, which I am the mayor of, is home to the happiest dogs on earth. We have about, 24 locations in 7 states. We're really expanding very rapidly because we really truthfully do. I have wonderful dedicated employees, and we really do a good job at what we do. And what we do is have fully interactive doggy daycare. There's not a lot of BS. It's very straightforward. Your dog comes. We do a temperament test, which is going to be the theme of this show. We do a temperament test. It's not an IQ test. It happens very quickly. It's not an exact science. And when the dog passes the temperament test, we make sure that they're healthy, and they come, and they're not even healthy. I mean, my dog, we have 2-legged dog, blind dogs, but when I say healthy, I mean in terms of communicable illnesses. We got to make sure that they have their shots and stuff. But when they come to any one of our Hounds Town USAs, they play, and I like to say they're allowed to hump, jump, and dump without getting screamed at or squirt water bottles or pennies thrown at them. We remove the toxicity of the human sometimes. And folks, our pet owners are wonderful people. They love their dogs. And sometimes they love their dogs too much. And so we just provided a real dog outlet. Just like children want to go play and get in the mud and get dirty and roll around in snow and all these things. Dogs want to do that. We allow that. And we can do that. So, that's what we do at Hounds Town, USA. Since our inception, we've taken care of 1 million dogs. And we do temperament test them. And the other thing I always pride ourselves on is that we don't breed discriminate. we don't breed discriminate. However, there is controversy, right? Everyone heard the term bully breeds, and we're going to talk about what bully breeds are. We're going to try to define them and why they are. Why do they? Because they do. I mean, they do. They do cause very serious injuries. And, fortunately for us, we have a way of temperament testing them to some degree, and we have more. How many customers are ours, like a version of a bully breed? When you think of the list of...
Majority.
A majority,
Yeah.
right. And there's different concepts, right? There's bully breeds that are very specific. What are they?
Pit bulls. What else are there?
Anything pretty much with the bull in that
Yeah.
part of the name.
Yeah.
So American
Bulldog.
bulldogs. It's just the breeding with the terrier. So
Alright.
that's what.
Right, but then there's dangerous dogs. So your insurance companies describe dangerous dogs. There's a list of them. German Shepherds. What are some of the dangerous dogs?
The top ones are, like you're saying, German Shepherds, Cane Corsos, Akitas, Pit Bulls are pretty much the top of the list as far as classified as vicious, dangerous dogs. So even a lot of town legislate, they give these codes now to, you have to manage your dog differently. So whether if they're out in public, they have to be on a muzzle, or if they're in your backyard, they have to have a pen. They can't just be in a yard that's fenced in.
Right. So if we have, like we say, half of our population at doggy daycare is a version of a dangerous dog, right?
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's a German Shepherd
Even
or
Great Danes,
Great
any
Danes,
larger breed dog.
Dobermans,
It's pretty much classified.
Rottweilers, right? But there's a reason they say that, because statistics. So I'm not a big fan on statistics, because statistics have to be carefully understood and analyzed, because if
They
you
can change to persuasion.
well,
If you
it's
don't take certain things into account.
well, right. So if you live in a small town, and they only have 4 cars in the town, and one of them gets stolen, that means that 25% of the cars got stolen that day. So their crime rate went up. That might not be the best analogy, but we've been sifting through different statistics. So one thing we do know, and we like the source, the Center for Disease Control,
Yeah, the
CDC in Atlanta is the Center for Disease Control, and they track these things. So last year alone, or in 2018, there was 800,000 dog bites. So almost 1 million, if you think about it. And there probably was 1 million.
They just weren't recorded.
Of course, because most dog bites, we get nipped and bit. But that's not the ones I'm worrying about. I'm worrying about, so the really fatal, I think, how many fatalities were there last year? I think 200 or 300.
Yeah, I think it was 247.
All right, so 247 fatalities by pit bulls, or predominantly pit bulls, right? So, I mean, we got to be honest about that. It's not I know the reason for this. We'll get to that. Or I think I do. But we have to be honest. We can't say those things didn't happen. And the number one victim of dog bites are children. The number one victim are children. And the younger they get, the higher percentage. So around 10 and then below, the fatality rate is six years and under. Why? Because they're tiny. They're tiny, and a big, powerful dog is shaking them, and they maul them. And I see this all the time, because that's one of the things I do, is analyze dog bites and try to figure out what went wrong when a dog bites somebody. And I can tell you this I can tell you for sure, and this might sound horrible, maybe not, it's never the dog's fault. No matter what dog bites I analyze, and I've done it hundreds of times, and horrific dog bites, but somewhere the pet owner mismanaged the dog, or didn't recognize, they didn't see things, they didn't take certain things into consideration. And one of the things, even at Hounds Town, we take into consideration the breed of the dog, or at least the predominant portion of the dog, right? So most dogs are all mutations. That's where the word mutt comes from. Would you agree with that, Ashley? Would you agree with that, Danielle?
Yes.
Okay, I got to make sure everybody's awake here. So a mutt is a mutation, and it's pretty much scientifically accepted that they mutated from wolves, where they evolved from wolves. And now when we talk about breeds, we rely on the AKC, the American Kennel Club, most often, and they decide what a breed is, but what's accepted. So a pit bull really, technically, isn't a breed of a dog, right? It's
It's not registered.
It's not registered with the AKC. And there's not a lot. And then the AKC might accept the dog. They might take Labradoodles. I don't know if they are, but they could be. So over the years, the AKC accepts dogs as breeds. But all dogs, from the Chihuahua to the Pit Bull, is a mutation, a mutt, or a descendant of the Gray Wolf. That's it. I mean, unless again, everything is debatable. Whether the moon, the world was round, or Earth was round or flat, was debatable until somebody proved differently. But I think it's pretty clear that we could look at a dog and say it kind of looks like a wolf, right? If you look at a German Shepherd or an Akita, it certainly looks more like a wolf than a fish or a deer.
Right.
Would you agree with that?
I would agree.
A polar bear. So I don't think we have to have degrees in behavioral science. I don't know we have to go to a laboratory. Some of this stuff to me is very apparent. And we do know that pit bulls, or what we would call a pit bull, that type of dog, a square-headed, powerful, muscular dog that's trained. So you know what? So now I'm telling you what it is. It is. The pit bulls are responsible for a lot of horrible injuries compared to a pug. Definitely. But after the break, let's try to analyze why that is, because we still we do not discriminate. So let's see why Miami-Dade completely discriminates. You're not allowed to have a pit bull.
Yeah.
And then there's other parts of the country that they don't take it into consideration at all, and that's a problem, because that's why kids get hurt and mauled by pit bulls, because humans weren't aware, they didn't see things, what they should have seen. They should have socialized the dog better. They should have trained it better. They should have had it around different stimulus. And that's where the problem comes in. So the dogs, again, always at the hands of the human. Somewhere there was a human failure. And I feel bad for the people that have gotten themselves in the position that they allowed this to happen. But a lot of times, some dogs that I see, they're like cock guns, and people leave it around and don't realize the consequence of it. Yeah. So it's not the gun that kills. And so after the break, I'm going to try to explain it. We'll talk about all the wonderful bully breeds we have at Hounds Town. They're amazing.
Right.
And most people listening, and people that have pit bulls, they get offended by this stereotype, because their dogs would not hurt a fly.
Right, like Diesel, who was on here a couple of weeks ago.
Like Diesel. He wouldn't hurt a fly under any circumstances. This concept, provoked, unprovoked, we're going to talk about this after the break, because this is why it's called the dish on dogs. We're going to give you the dish on bully breeds, or at least the way we think about it. Join us right after the break, and we'll see Squirt and Danielle and blah, blah.
Can you get some coffee?
All right, Facebook fans. Is anybody even watching us, listening to us? Please say somebody's watching. Nobody?
Well, we have to correct one of the things you said about the 200. That was over a 13-year period. So last year there was 36 dog bite fatalities, and 72% of them, which is 26, were pit bulls.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah.
Oh, and Chico's mom's watching.
Mom?
Chico, she has a pit bull.
Hi, Chico's mom. Don't worry. We're not discriminating against Chico. But this is interesting, I think. I'd like to get people's opinions.
Well, the fact that's crazy is when me and Danielle were looking at a lot of this stuff, there's dog bite statistics and then there's dog bite fatality statistics. And the list of dogs is pretty much the same, but the dog bite statistic, there is Shih Tzus and Chihuahuas are on the top 10 on dog bites, but they don't make it onto the fatality.
Of course, but I want to talk about the fatalities, honestly, because the ones I deal with are either fatalities or very close to fatalities.
Right, and they can be just as aggressive as a Shih Tzu, but...
Right. All right, good. I got that. So now...
They're just not capable.
Right. Well, of course, exactly. Well, that's what we're going to talk about. But we got to make sure our statistics are absolute, and we have to sift through why these are. And that's what we're going to do. I wonder, is Mommy watching? Jackie watching? Mommy, we love you. Oh. All right. So stay with us. We got a minute or two, and then we're gonna pump some life into
he's
Squirt.
passed out.
He's passed out. He went to the vet today, so.
40 seconds.
But we want to just show you, on the next commercial, we got 7 minutes, just to show you. This girl had this dog for 6 weeks.
30 seconds.
He's a puppy, a baby, from a stray, a shelter. He's not a purebred. She didn't pay $10,000, and he's going to be a movie star one day. You watch. You watch. Ugh.
15. And 5, 4, 3,
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Dish on Dogs. I'm your host, Mike Gould. Hounds Town, USA, home to the happiest dogs on earth. We started the earliest segment talking about bully breeds, why there are. We can't deny the fact that certain things happen. It's like car accidents. So but here's the point: there are fatalities. Probably more people get killed by cars than any war, anything that you can think of. Drugs. I'm assuming that. I'm assuming car fatalities are amongst the worst. But we don't ban cars. We don't ban cars. We try to educate people how to drive them safely. And that's kind of the thing I want to talk about with dogs. So statistics are bad. We can't get into... here's my reality. My reality is I see the victims of dog bites. I see that. I don't even like to look at them. They're so severe. Because who is the victim? The victims are children. That's a statistical fact. There's no getting around that. That children 10 and under, as I said, are the number one victims of mauling. And you know who the second high group is? Senior citizens. So here it is. Senior citizens and children, and they're vulnerable in our society, right? So what does a 5-year-old child look like to a dog that maybe hasn't been socialized and does have a predatory instinct? Guess what? All dogs have predatory instincts. During the break, we talked about what you say. You said about a statistics.
Right. So there's two different statistics. There's dog bite statistics and there's dog bite fatality statistics. And there's a lot of common breeds in both, but when you look at the top 10 on the dog just bite statistics, you see Chihuahuas and Shih Tzus are up there pretty high compared to these, almost the same percentages as, Rottweilers and everything like that, but they're just not they have the same drive. Whatever the reason is, it's the same situation, but they don't have the propensity to do
well,
the
they
same
have
damage.
they have the propensity. The point is they have the same propensity, but they don't have the ability to kill anybody.
Right.
So a 20-pound pug or a Chihuahua, everybody knows Chihuahuas, they're little nippy things, and they probably have a higher bite ratio than any dog, including a pit bull. But when you get bit by a Chihuahua, you usually don't go to the emergency room and you don't report it. If you get bit by a pit bull, you're going to the hospital, even an adult, and even a German Shepherd. I mean, if it's what I call a committed bite. Dogs bite for so many different complicated reasons. So here's the problem. Dogs are complicated, right? So there's offensive bites, meaning a dog is offensively, he's chasing something to kill it. Or it's defensive. Most dog bites are defensive. You reach for a dog, you startle a dog, it's a defensive bite, and it's normally not, it's a bite, of course, and the canine teeth will crush into whatever it comes in contact with, but it's not an offensive bite where most offensive bites, where these real serious maulings come from, is a combination of the dog's genetic predisposition. So pit bulls are predators, like I said earlier, and they're trained to bait bulls. They're not hunting dogs. They're not herding dogs. They're not retrieving dogs. They're bred, and that society has bred dogs for different things forever. Akitas are bred for protection and guarding. I'm working on a bite case now where somebody was bit in the face by Akita. 2 years ago, I worked on one where a child, she was 12 years old, she was so disfigured by an Akita. But the humans didn't understand. They failed to understand the breed, and not only the breed, but it missed signs. The dog was growling at people. The dog was doing all of these things. And then one day a neighbor walked in the door, a neighbor's kid opened the storm door, came in, and the dog was denning under the kitchen table. And this Akita bit this girl so severely in her face, it was horrible. So that couldn't happen with a pug. It couldn't happen with, sure, I guess you could get bit in the face by a pug, but it's not going to be these serious...
unless you're picking them up and putting them in your
Right,
face.
and that's the other problem. So when we distinguish the dangerous dogs, I like to talk about the ones I deal with are so serious, they're very close to fatality. So that's the caliber of injury. So when we talk about that, there's a couple of states that's the highest in the nation. I think it's Florida, North Carolina, and California. Those are 3 states. And I don't know why that is. Maybe it's because of the population. So, we can't just go by figures. You really have to break it down. But the bottom line, so Miami goes to one extreme, and they just ban them. And I find that offensive. Then, as I said earlier before the break, there's some municipalities They don't even take it into consideration. They just look at dog as a dog as a dog. And anybody who evaluates or performs temperament tests on dogs, if you don't take their breed or their predominant breed or what they're, so I know German Shepherds training police dogs, we used to have them, it was hard to get them to bite, teach them to bite an arm because they would nip at the heels of the person because that was their genetic instinct was to herd. They're herding dogs, right? German Shepherds. So their instinct was to nip at the heels of stuff. Some dogs bite people when they're going away rather than coming forward. So you have to take so many things into account. You just can't say a Rottweiler is dangerous because, frankly, when I was a kid, it was Dobermans were the most dangerous because there wasn't pit bulls weren't around, and then Rotties and so forth. And people are misusing them. People are training pit bulls. They're provoking their behavior. They're bringing out that predatory instinct and teaching them to chase and kill things. Right. And they have pit bull biting rings and so forth. So that if you...
Well, even there's commercial dog protection now.
Right, commercial.
Which, I understand reasons for it, but God forbid your dog gets out or just an accident happens. Now you set that in that dog, whether someone does the same action as they were taught on the street, it could be a huge accident.
Of course. Well, right. So training dogs for personal protection, it's dangerous as far as I'm concerned. And I've always said that because people ask me to do that because obviously in law enforcement we train the dogs for personal protection. But what people forget is dogs can't make moral decisions. So if a dog mauls a child, it's not mauling a child, it's mauling a small animal.
Well, someone on Facebook just brought up, there's a story, I'm not sure how long ago it was, but I do remember hearing about this. It was just in March. A 4-year-old put a sock over his hand and stuck it under the neighbor's fence. I was going like this, and a husky came over and ripped the boy's hand off, literally right off. But the dog, first off, didn't see anything. It sees a white sock.
Right. Well, and it doesn't even see a white sock. So, it's instinct. But here's the thing also. Humans don't have a clue of what a dog sees. So you have to look at it this way. A dog sees things differently. They see in black and white, basically, fundamentally. They don't see vivid colors. That's a fact. And they don't see fine definition. They do have night vision, and they have great peripheral vision, so they see movement very acutely, and that's how you can see. You can watch your dog at home. They react to every sound. If you pick up the leash, if you pick up the dog bowl, if you just get out of bed, they react to that sound and movement. So they're all doing the same thing. It's just that some dogs who've been taught or have that high drive and instinct, they actually carry out biting. And when a 65-pound pit bull, that solid muscle, bites down on a child's face, it's over. But again, they're not doing it deliberately. It's not like they're killing a child. They're killing a small animal. That's what they're supposed to do. And when you start to understand what they're doing, and they're really limited, they're not as smart as we think they are. They can't run across the street. Go try to train your dog to look both ways before it crosses the street. It's almost impossible. It can be done. But we'll save that for another show. But just think about that. If we think a dog is so smart and you throw a ball, it'll run out and get hit by a car. So they just act instinctively, and that's what happens with these maulings. So I want to make it clear. We love bully breeds. Bully breeds, and what's the other thing? Dangerous dogs. It's really dangerous dogs are like dangerous humans. There's no dangerous Irishmen. I guess there are, but
and it's constantly changing. So these laws are put in place and says the top 5 high statistical dog bites, which, like you were saying, it does fluctuate from breed popularity and...
Right, exactly. All right, so here's the thing. We're going to pick up on this afterwards. I'm glad Chico's mom's watching. We're going to watch, if you stay with us on Facebook, Danielle's going to take Squirt, and we're just going to play around a little bit and just try to appreciate what we're doing. We're at an airport. There's smelly-ass carpeting here. It's disgusting. There's noises. And Squirt's going to be a relatively well-behaved dog for a dog she's had for 6 weeks. A 6-month-old dog for 6 weeks. You just watch this. Bye. See you after the break. 7 minutes. All right, let's go. Let's get this show.
Let me go to the door. You go in.
All right, so we're going to go outside. All right, So here she is, the dog is on her left side, nice and relaxed, and she's walking. Look at how relaxed Danielle is. And then we're going to play around with a wheelchair. We're going to just do things. But hey, Squirt, keep going. Notice I'm trying to distract. What is this? These are distractions. A ball, a bird, a dying animal. So go ahead in your wheelchair, and we'll have your attendant walk you around. Look at the dog's tail. Let's go start over at this perspective. If you watch the dog, this is not a suppressed dog. So I'm always talking about emotional support dogs. I don't like the concept of humans projecting their weirdness onto a dog. So here's Squirt walking perfectly. Danielle, she's missing a flight. She's late for a flight. She can go fast. Look, she's late for a flight. Old Squirt goes, all right, goes to cancel flight, turn left. The dog's not getting run over. Danielle's not doing anything. And then she's going to swing around here. And again, we're playing around. This is 6 weeks of nothing. If you think we do this hours a day, you're crazy. This is 5 minutes. Keep going around. There's old Squirt. There's good right there. That's fine. Keep going. I'm talking to John. Yeah. What was that? So Ashley missed the airport for some reason. I'm not quite sure. All right, we got this. So here we are. We have this platform. What is it? It's nothing. It's something we put together in about 5 minutes. So Squirt's gonna, for some reason, have to go up there. He's gonna stay. Danielle's gonna go get a beer or whatever she does, take her Xanax, whatever she does. She comes, and there's Squirt, perfectly fine. And, oh, I don't know, she might want him, so she's gonna bend down low. And maybe he'll jump on her lap, see? Maybe not. No worries. There he goes. Pick him up. So the point is this. He's not a threat to me. He's not distracted. Let's go back this way. You think about your dog at home right now. You think about your dog under these circumstances. That would not happen. And this is done in so simple. This is so simple. It's turbo dog training. So simple you can't do it. So then let's make a miracle happen. We'll get put your wheelchair over there. Get Danielle to walk. She's one of these people that want to get on the line of the airplane. She's perfectly fine, but she uses the wheelchair. Get up. And then of course walk with your dog. Let's go this way. So then come out this way, and then go back that way, and let's see if he'll jump up on chairs. Boom. Then make a right towards me. What I want you to notice is there's no prong collar, there's no electric collar. When she stops, he's going to sit. She's going to tell him to stay and pivot out her right. She almost screwed that up. She did before. She's going to drop the leash. She's relaxed. I'm going to throw things. And then all Danielle is going to do is drop down low and the dog will come. This is great stuff. We're not asking, going up on this. This is just showing a nice, in-control dog. What else? There's nothing else we can do. Go back up on his little platform. Go around the other side. Right up there. Tell him to stay. That's it. Notice the other thing, she's really not talking a lot. She's not yelling, screaming. Yeah, I want to play Frisbee with you. Let's see. Okay, good. So here we are, the family barbecue, playing Frisbee. Whoa. Whoa. Dogs. Here. All right, we screwed that up. No problem. Put them back, and that's that. We don't get, this is easy stuff. He made a mistake. He wants to play at our barbecue. No worries, right up there. Up. Come on, love him up a little. Bottom line, low energy is not stay. There's no clickers, there's no corrections. Well, we have an OSHA violation. I see a lawsuit right here. His platform fell down. Doesn't matter. She's going to get low call and we're getting back in the studio. She's like jumping off the... All right, good. That was great. Let's go back inside. And I think that was magnificent. Yeah, actually, we can... Yeah, from this break, we can start packing it up. Right?
Good.
That was good. Next week,
Like a fire.
Ring of Fire. Yeah, we'll have a pretend. Yeah,
That's really actually
Yeah.
easy to do. That's super easy.
Well, you just lower it then.
right.
Get a hula hoop.
Right.
All right, folks, that was our demonstration. I don't know what that looks like to people on the outside. To me, it's amazing that she rescued this dog. He's got this. He's just a wonderful, amazing dog, and he's going to do cool things. And every week that goes by, we're going to add a little something to his repertoire. Next week, he'll be jumping, doing silly things. But the bottom line is she has leadership, and she's consistent. So this isn't, we didn't just come to the airport to do these tricks. This is done so quickly, and because we're consistent. We don't use food reward, except for certain behaviors. Most of it's all comes from her love and leadership. Love and leadership and consistency. And again, it's so easy that most of my clients can't do it. They just can't. I wish they could. Hey, I can't diet. I want to diet. I can't. So I get it. All right, what else is happening? All right, so we're going back. What are we talking about?
10. In 5, 4, 3.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. You're listening to The Dish on Dogs. We're dishing out information about dogs. We're giving you our opinions about dogs. And it's our opinion not based on what we read or what we studied. It's based on what we do. And what we do is take care of dogs in group pack environments that interact. And we take care of literally there's not a breed that we haven't taken care of. And we temperament test them. And not very often, but sometimes we don't allow dogs to come to doggy daycare based on their size, stature, personality, and how they've been socialized. So we don't allow it. Our temperament test, it's not an exact science, but we look to see if a dog is overtly friendly towards humans, and everybody knows what that looks like, right? A dog's, their butt's going back and forth and their tail is wagging. That's generally a friendly dog, not always. And then on the other hand, if a dog stiffens up, their tail stiffens up, their hackles come up, their ears come forward, and they're trying to dominate another dog. It's not that that's a bad dog. He just can't interact with our group of dogs at doggy daycare because our pack is different. Now that dog can interact with dogs at home for sure. I don't know many dogs that can't. Would you agree with that, Ashley? That we can't get to interact with one or two other dogs, family
Right,
dogs.
exactly. Yeah.
Right, and as long as you understand, at Hounds Town, our pack is changing every day, so we get new dogs coming all the time, so it's a little bit more difficult, but, dogs are dogs. They're pack animals, so by virtue of being a dog, it's like fish and, schools of fish and flocks of birds. So they shouldn't actually be, generally speaking, aggressive towards one another. But the reason that they are, and let's get back to what we were talking about. We're talking about bully breeds, dangerous dogs, how people discriminate against them.
And why kids are the biggest, number one victims of dogs bites.
Right. But it's just a physical disparity, just like a dog fight. So if a Saint Bernard gets in a fight with a 20-pound French bulldog, there's a good possibility that little 20-pound bulldog who may have instigated the fight, he's going to lose and he's going to have the more serious injuries because the Saint Bernard, these dogs, we were just doing a serve because, as I said, I was working on a case recently where an Akita bit a woman in the face. The Akita's jaw pressure is 400 pounds a square inch. Can you imagine? So not all
And higher than the pit bulls.
and higher than a pit bull. Pit bulls
Right.
are around 300 pounds a square
No,
inch.
they were 235,
Right.
which was right around the same as a
Right.
lab and a,
Right.
you know.
And if you do a little research on Akitas, they're strictly bred to guard property and personal protection. That's what they were bred for. So obviously, they're probably not going to do well in a social at your 4th of July party. If you're having fireworks and
Right.
I can guarantee you this weekend coming up, 4th of July weekend, dog bites are going to go through the roof. I know when these things happen.
Yeah, drinking, fireworks, and food.
Drinking, fireworks, food, and children. There is going to be a disaster this weekend. And look, accidents happen. Accidents happen, and I feel horrible for those people that they forgot to do this or they
But I feel
forgot
like
to
they
do
should set their children and their dogs up for success. Not like this one, the little boy that got his hand bitten off by 2 huskies. He was left alone outside. His dad went inside the house. 4 years old, was wandering around the backyard by himself.
Right, right. And as I said from the first segment, there's never been a dog bite, never been any kind of involvement with dogs that I've ever studied, analyzed, or investigated that it's somewhere the human was at fault. And it's horrible because the humans sometimes just, they're oblivious to the behavior of the dog. I see sometimes people get dogs just for the wrong reason. Just because they had one as a child or it looks cool or whatever. The point is, if you take a puppy, any puppy, and social, just like Squirt here. Squirt has been in this Danielle's care since he was, 4 months old? Whatever.
Yeah, 4 months old.
4 months old. I can guarantee you, reasonably guarantee you, not 100%, this dog is not going to have a vicious propensity. I don't even know what the hell he is. What kind of, you talk about a mutation.
He's like an Aussie dude.
He's-
So he wants to be an Aussie.
Right, he looks like a hobo. I just think of him like a hobo. He belongs in a box under a bridge somewhere with some old man.
He'd probably love it.
Right, exactly. He'd live with that alone. So just think of that. He's no different. And we talk about this all the time.
Right, but even like my dog, I had at the same probably age that Danielle got Squirt, but I never brought him to airports or Petco because I just never did. There was no reason for me to. I would take him to the barn with me, so he's not afraid of horses or other animals. But God forbid you take him in somewhere that's got
Right.
warehouse ceilings and he doesn't know what to do.
Right, so that's a good example. We brought him here, actually, and he freaked out when he heard the PA system.
Right.
And I always tell the story about the German Shepherds I used to import for the police department. We import them from Germany. So they were the best bred, like best breeding lines. And I'd go visit them in a foreign country where they were raised on like dirt and grass, and that's just the way it was, in kennels, cement, dirt, and grass. We imported them, we paid a lot of money for them, brought them to the United States, and then tried to take them into a mall with marble tile, and the dogs literally shut down. They couldn't, because it was like for them walking on ice. So they were 2 or 3 year old dogs that never, their pads or paws never touched marble. So their brain couldn't function. They didn't know how to navigate over that. Whereas if they were raised in our playrooms, we have tiles. We have porcelain tiles.
We have some dogs that will come in and they're great with other dogs, but they're petrified of the tile.
We
Right.
had one the other
And then we
day.
have to. It takes us a little bit longer, and usually we can get them used to it just by
Right.
just us and the dog being in there. And you know.
Of course. And the thing to know is that, yeah, these dogs can be socialized, but they just can't. I've seen dogs bite but they were literally afraid of their own shadow. I've seen beagles bite a family member because it was guarding a cheese doodle under the couch. These things that I just don't think humans take into consideration, and I just feel sorry for them. You know, like I said, I guess I'm super paranoid for the last couple of weeks. This time of the year, I've just seen some horrific dog bites when 5-year-old, 10-year-old kids. It's just, it's one thing if an adult gets bit in the ass by his dog or something like that, but when a kid gets small, it's just, and when it could be preventable. It's preventable, right? A lot of this is hindsight, and I don't like to do it because I know everybody feels horrible when these events take place. Nobody did it intentionally,
Right.
and then they go back and they realize the mistakes they made. So the best thing to do is education, right? So people now are educated to wear seatbelts. That's how you prevent yourself from getting propelled
Right.
through the windshield.
Well, I'm pretty sure the backup cameras, I might be wrong, from what I always thought was because there was someone backed over their child in the driveway. Because
Right.
I never heard of backup cameras before, and then all of a sudden,
Right.
start happening with their
Right.
kids or dogs,
Right.
and they came out with
Right.
backup cameras.
Right. So exactly. So all these things are after the fact, and it's horrible for those people that have to live through that. It's easy, Look, I could easily be guilty of forgetting to leave a dog in a car or something. I always keep the windows open, but I mean, I see it. Because can you imagine a parent who leaves their child in the car?
Yeah.
You can almost see it happening in your daily life. We're rushing around, we're running in for coffee. So it's horrible things, but I guess let's get back focused on the dog. Do we have another segment, or is this it?
No,
One
we have
more.
We have one more
Okay,
segment.
so after this break, we're going to actually codify our discussion. We're going to come to a conclusion about bully breeds. Should they be banned? Shouldn't they be banned? Are they dangerous? Aren't they dangerous? We're going to finish that up, but there was something I wanted to talk about. Let's just see for a second. I can't think. Oh, so if we look at a ladder, this is my last human analogy. So a ladder, if you fall off a 3-foot ladder, you might break your ankle or something. But if you fall off a 20-foot ladder, you'll probably break your neck. So that's the point about the dog, the disparity in size and their breeding, their predisposition. So I think most people can agree that some dogs are bred to be water dogs, some dogs go retrieve ducks, they bring the duck back in their mouth. They're not allowed to crush the duck because then it's of no value to the hunter, the duck hunter. So all these dogs are bred. But breeding is when you have selective breeding, meaning you're trying, it's like a mad scientist coming together and trying, it's like Frankenstein. A lot of these dogs are like Frankenstein's monster. And if you get them young, they can be socialized perfectly fine if you set boundaries for them. But if not, it gets ugly. And next week, I'm actually going to try to get a dog here, and we're going to try to demonstrate a 7-minute temperament test because we like to do things during our Facebook 7-minute break. So we're going to expose the dogs to triggers: sound, sight, movement. All these things trigger a dog. Remember, a dog lives 18 inches off the ground and it knows nothing about our human world. They don't know sliding doors. They don't even know they bark at their own reflection in the window here. So the more a dog gets socialized, the less likely it is to attack somebody. They really don't. I don't even know when I've seen it that I couldn't explain why a dog bit somebody.
Right.
All right, so then there is this provoked or unprovoked. We'll talk about that.
Oh, yeah.
All right, we'll see you after the break. It's our last segment. Thank you, fortunately, for you guys listening and watching. All right, let's break it down, bro. Is anybody watching?
Yeah.
Who?
You got a good feedback on
Got a lot of good feedback. Anybody mad at us?
No,
Not yet.
everyone's agreeing.
Yes, Professor's really on it. 235 square inch, right. We do our homework, Jackie. What do we think? We're goofing off all the time? She was very impressed. We know bite per square inch, pressure. We're going to go over that. We're going to come to a final conclusion.
All right, 45 seconds.
All right.
That was quick.
How was
It's like
it?
one. It's something. Yeah, it's like a one.
Look at little Squirt down there.
He's exhausted.
UPMC. All right.
30 seconds.
I can't even be with the message on here.
What?
What's the matter? It's almost time for a cigar, kids.
Oh boy.
So exciting.
He's thinking of cigar.
Let's take the cigars. You got to
Right.
remind
I
that.
got it.
All right, here we go. In 3, 2.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm your host, Mike Gould. You're listening to The Dish on Dogs. This is our final segment, and we're just going to sum up what we've been talking about. So, at Hounds Town, USA, I've always prided ourselves, and I continue to, that we don't discriminate against dogs because certain of our competitors discriminate, certain municipalities discriminate, but we temperament test dogs, and I think that's the secret sauce, is understanding the dog brain. So if we expose the dog to simple stimulation, so for example, here I have a squeaky toy. So a squeaky toy, where's my little friend
He's
Squirt?
looking.
A squeaky toy is the sound of a dying animal. That's why dogs like it. So if you have a little dog at home and he loves his squeaky toy that looks like Santa Claus or a penguin, he really is just reacting to the sound of a dog dying in its distressful dying moments. And when it takes the squeaker out, it's basically eviscerating it and killing it.
Like a small animal.
It's like a small animal, of course. And then if we look at a ball and roll a ball is like prey. It's a rabbit running away. So a ball is a prey item, and dogs do what? Most dogs like to chase a ball. Some dogs do it with like such an intensity that they shake to chase a ball, and other dogs chase it 2 or 3 times. So the likelihood of that dog that's not really that enthusiastic about chasing a ball probably isn't going to be a dog killer. You know, they just doesn't have that kind of drive.
One of our customers, you just woke up their dog because he's watching.
Oh, that's what I'm going to have to do. Everybody else is falling asleep around here. Wake up over there. So that's a perfect example. So the sound of a squeaky toy is a sound of a dog in stress. When a dog chews a stick, what is it doing? It's actually, that represents to the dog a bone, a femur bone of another animal. So my point is all our furry little dogs at home, they're doing these primal things. So whoever I just woke up, his predatory instincts was triggered just by that sound. The vacuum cleaner arouses the predatory drive of dogs. The doorbell, somebody threatening your territory, all of these things arouse the predatory drive in animals. Now, 90% of the time, it's nothing, but a lot of times it's something. So again, dogs that are getting highly aroused at the dog, when they're 1 year old, they might not bite anybody, but when they're 3 years old, when they're a fully mature dog, that is when, again, if we look up our statistics for next week, I can almost guarantee you that most of the dogs that bite people seriously bite, these fatal bites, they're not 6-month-old dogs, they're not year-old dogs, they are usually 3-year-old dogs. And that's something I can almost guarantee. They're fully mature dogs, they've been working on their predatory drives, nobody kept it in check, so everybody ignored it. They ignored the dog trying to jump out the window when they see the landscaper outside. And then eventually the dog gets out and he bites somebody. The difference between the average dog and a pit bull dog is a pit bull is strong. As we said before, 300, 400 pounds of pressure a square inch. They're going to take something down, and if you're a 50-pound child, you're probably going to die from the injuries that sustained it. You know, where did I get the Children's Hospital of Pittsburgh? According to them and according to the CDC, there's a greater health problem towards children. Dogs. This is dogs. Dogs are a greater health problem to children than mumps, measles, and whooping cough combined together. More common are dog bites than injuries from bicycle accident, playgrounds, mopeds, skateboards, or ATV. So isn't that kind of fascinating? The dogs are greater health. This is not me, Mike Gould. You can fact check this, whoever don't trust me out there. The Children's Hospital of Pittsburgh and the Center for Disease Control. So that doesn't mean we abandon all dogs. We don't get rid of dogs. We don't get rid of cars because people get in car accidents. People have to educate themselves. And I would love to prevent, it's not going to happen because nobody listens, but I'd love to prevent people from just getting an idea about it. Understand this weekend coming up, fireworks. Dogs don't understand any of this. They're petrified by these things. So dogs are going to bite, I guarantee it, defensively or offensively. Somebody's going to drop a hot dog, a child's going to go pick it up, and a dog's going to bite him in the hand. This I know for certain. So I benefit from that because that's what I do. I analyze dog bites, but I tell you what, I would love to never take another case of a child being mutilated if I can. But the truth of the matter, it's, what was the number of kids that got killed? Like 200? I mean, it's a ridiculous number.
Right.
All right, so this was kind of not a happy show. No, but it just because it does it, as I said, children are helpless. Senior citizens, they're kind of helpless. So all you millennials out there that are strong enough to walk your 80-pound dogs and stuff, remember this frail, and they also, if an 80-pound dog, I don't care what it is, knocks down an 80-year-old person and they break their hip, they're done. They're done. So is there a big difference between falling off a deck or falling off a patio because a friendly dog jumped on you, an 80-pound Labrador? Dog? What was that?
Door.
A Labrador, right? So a Labrador jumps and he knocks Grandma through the storm door. That's just as bad as a Chihuahua biting them, and the same for a child. So I don't know. I just had
So you kind of wanted to wrap this up a little bit too.
Okay,
as far as bully breeds.
Right. So what is the consensus of should
Because
bully
we were
breeds?
talking about how a
All
lot
right.
of states, insurance companies ban
Right.
bully breeds or dangerous dogs
Right.
that are prone to
Miami.
biting people. Right. Miami-Dade.
Miami-Dade. And so should we or shouldn't we?
Well, I think there's two different. There's like a huge end of the spectrum. You have these counties banning these dogs altogether, and then you have these places that
Right.
you can bring dogs into bars, and then
Right.
some of the states have. Well,
Right,
the dog
that's a case I
the dog
have,
bites
right.
somebody,
Yes,
they're
sir.
provoked.
Right.
Someone's
So there's
fallen.
dog-friendly bars. Here's the kicker. Here's the funny part. So one of the cases I'm working on now, I won't get specific, but it involves a pit bull. So now the pit bull did do something very seriously, but it could have been managed. So now he's a statistic, and so is the victim. So because of the mismanagement of this particular victim and this particular dog, this could have been prevented.
Right.
But it wasn't. So next year, 2019, we're going to add another statistic and another pit bull to the mix. And these things could have been avoided. The Akita that bit the person in the face, it was at a pet-friendly environment. So people are at a pet-friendly, whatever the hell that is, and somebody walks in with an Akita or whatever it is, and the dog bites somebody in the face. Even this, again, it'll get me crazy. It always does this segment, this emotional support dog. There is no, go look up, anybody out there, look up ESAR, emotional support of dogs, or it's ESAR. There is no requirement whatsoever for the temperament of that dog. So that means every lunatic you see with a dog at the airport, every lunatic.
Does not mean the dog isn't aggressive.
It doesn't mean it did anything except sent
But
it.
that's not public knowledge either.
It's
So
not
a lot
public.
of even your court cases, people
Right.
are expecting the general public to
Right.
know how to interact with
Right.
dogs.
If you
it's
think
not their responsibility.
Right. If you see an emotional support dog, a dog at an airport with a vest on, you're going to assume that it's friendly. And it's not. It doesn't even require any kind of testing. Nobody even looks at the dog. You send a check for $150. They send you a vest and a certificate in the mail. And you are allowed to bring these dogs on airplanes. It is insane. Don't get emotional support dogs mixed up with service dogs. Service dogs are another level. Seeing eye dogs, etc.
They've gone through extensive training.
They've gone through extensive training. But anyway, this stuff gets me nuts. And then it's a human condition. This has nothing. We're trying to bring predators, animals. They're lovely. You can watch Dancing with the Stars with them. You can have popcorn with them. You can do all these wonderful things. Dr. Phil, whatever your show of choice is. But you can't do everything with them. They have no place at your barbecue this weekend. Trust me when I tell you. Trust me when I tell you. The smart people bring their dogs to Hounds Town, USA. Home to that. We're just talking now. We're packed. Because people are taking that, our customers are smart. They take that burden off themselves. That kids aren't going to be pulling their dog's tail, and Uncle Joey's drunk, and this and that. These poor dogs, they want to run away, but they don't have thumbs. If dogs ever evolve to have thumbs, they're all going to run away from these lunatic people, crazy people, not my customers. Not my customers at Hounds Town. They're smart. But the rest of you are, never mind, I can't say it. All right, but crazy. All right, I got myself worked up. I'm going to have a cigar now to decompress. Next week, we're going to probably do a temperament test. We're going to show you how simple it is. It's not we're not giving an IQ test. We're going to trigger a dog to see how their reaction to stimulus is, and then you can gauge whether your dog's dangerous or not. Next week, we're going to check out and see if the dogs are dangerous. Hounds Town, USA, the Dish on Dogs, next week live at 8 p.m. Facebook Live. Oh, I get crazy. I'm sorry,
It's so
Facebook
wild
people.
the last 10 minutes.
It's close to the scotch. It's close to the alcohol in my coffee. Let's get the hell out of here.
Oh, end it.
Yeah, please end it.
Please end it.